and was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce.
Oh, the worst.
I feel like that might have helped catapult Taylor Swift into what she is today.
You think? Me and my acid wash vest. Very appropriate.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to There's a Lot of Denim here.
Yeah. This is the Denim Podcast.
And I'm happy about that.
That's my new identity.
Wow, babe, cool jacket. Where'd you get it from?
Acid wash vest is fucking sick, babe.
It's so cool. I was like, babe, you just got to try it on just once. Okay?
I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then I put it on and I was like, hold on.
Not even once. You're game over now.
Also, I look like Mojo Dojo Casa House Ken and Barbie coalesced into a singular genderless being.
Like if you typed it into AI images or something and you're like making a picture.
Exactly.
And you just didn't put any spaces.
Yeah.
This is what it would be.
Mojo Dojo Casa House Ken Barbie.
Perfect.
I love it.
It's literally perfect.
I'm obsessed with it. I didn't think I would like this vest, honestly.
It looks fresh as hell on you.
I saw a comment a while ago. I don't know if we've addressed this, but I saw a comment a while ago on one of the episodes where we were wearing each other's clothes about how we're single-handedly solving overconsumption in couples.
Do remember that. Yes.
And I feel that way now.
You just have...
Every time we re-wear a piece of clothing from each other, I'm like, wow, we're just like being so environmentally friendly.
We are so environmentally friendly.
We just have one wardrobe now.
We shop at Sprouts and we drive an electric vehicle and we just wear all the same clothes. It's not all we're missing is your skin.
Yeah. Yep.
Each other's skin, I guess.
Yeah. For our birthday parties.
Well, that'd be kind of weird though because it'd just like trading because it'd just be you and me there basically because...
Yeah. No one would come to that birthday party.
No one would come to that, and I wouldn't want them to.
I wouldn't,
That'd be a mess.
Yeah, that's pretty
Anyways,
weird.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Hi, thanks for coming. My name's Mickey.
I'm Aaron.
What are we talking about today, my love?
Okay, so I created another outline, and I'm
living for the outline moment, by the way. I think it's
you.
great. I appreciate you for doing the organizing part of this journey for us.
I know it's fun for you. It's nice to just show up and just
I love
empty.
It. I love it.
Be pretty and say nice things.
Be pretty and dumb.
I
love that.
I think we said that on the first episode.
I think we did too.
Wow, what a throwback. What episode are we even on?
Ooh.
Also, we stopped saying the episode numbers because we film them and then we just kind of see how it feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's relevant.
We're choosing to put up content based on what feels good, what feels relevant, what makes the most sense.
Speaking of relevant, though, this is a timeless topic.
Mm-hmm. It is a timeless topic, actually.
I think the person that I want this topic to be about, though, will go unsaid. But let's just get into it, okay? I know. I would never. And I would never. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to.
I'm a little shit stirrer. Rude.
I know.
You are a shit stirrer.
Okay,
Stop
so
it.
anyways, speaking of shit that needs to be stirred, look who I have today.
Tabby.
All right.
It's our tablet friend.
It said this is episode 12, but this is clearly not episode 12.
This is not episode 12. I'm pretty sure episode 12 went up this week, though.
Who knows what week it is anymore?
Honestly, who knows?
When you film,
who cares?
It's like I'm like pretend. When you film, do you pretend what week it is when you film it?
No.
Like this could be Halloween week and we wouldn't even know it.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe that's why I'm dressed like Mojo Dojo Casa House Ken.
Who am I dressed up as?
You know what it's reminding me of?
Tell me.
There is a character, I can't remember what movie it's from, but there's a character of like this big, tall Southern man who like wears overalls and like the wife pleaser tank tops. I will find a picture of it.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Like the word that's coming to or the name that's coming to mind is like Bubba or something. Like their sort of caricature of like.
Is this from Holes?
No.
Like the flashback scenes?
No. But it's reminding me of that. It's
not
like
Forrest Gump.
It's like fried green tomatoes sort of vibes.
I've never seen that movie. I know. I keep telling you things that I've never seen, and then
you've never seen fried green tomatoes?
No.
It's a classic.
I've never seen Pretty Woman either.
Yeah, I did know that because I said to you one time we should lay like broccoli, and you were like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "That's a classic. What are you referring to?"
I'm not a perfect person.
That doesn't stop you from giving me my retainer at night, though, and doing the closing the box thing.
Oh, that's classic.
You love that.
That's classic. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
You're so funny.
I just like the weirdest little retainer boy.
Yes.
Like
a flower boy.
Because your little ADHD brain can't remember to put your mouth guard in.
I never remember. Hold on, I'm gonna Google the overalls.
Okay. I'm gonna grab Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, I can't find it.
That's fine. I believe you.
I'll figure it out. And then I'll tell you afterwards when we're no longer filming and it's not relevant anymore.
Okay, so I think something that's really interesting in influencer culture generally and like parasocial relationships, obviously, of course, is the parasocialness of them.
Okay.
And it's crazy just like,
disagree.
it's not crazy, but like, I think for me growing up, and I think the biggest thing, like I remember this very vividly, is Dave Grohl was giving an interview.
Yeah.
And this is about the time too, like I loved rock.
Yes.
I love electronic music and like electronica and dance and EDM and all
like
that shit.
House music,
Yeah, of course. And so like Daft Punk, obviously.
Yes.
I honestly,
heartbreak of all time.
I could get into that. Honestly, it's not even though. Like, I think them announcing they're not making music anymore when they were already out of the game is like, I don't like.
That's true. Because when did they release Random
2013.
Access? And when did they announce that they were officially done?
Like 2020.
Like,
and like that's fine to be done or whatever. And it's not. I'm not gonna get it. Like, I just don't even want to get into it because it's like very annoying and very frustrating.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really fine.
Sure.
Whatever. Do whatever your heart desires. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Dave Grohl was talking about electronic music, and obviously like there's no heart or soul behind it, and it's just like beep boop and punt. I know.
Oh my god!
Very 2010s take. Like this was
like there's no real instruments.
No, yes, and like it was like the dubstep, like the response like from traditional musicians to dubstep and like that sort of thing. And like I don't think people realize what a polarizing moment
that was.
Or maybe you do.
Yeah.
But like dubstep, like I hate it. I still really don't really get it.
I think it's fun.
I can appreciate the technicality of it and like as far as like synthesizing and like the
like actual mechanics of the thing
of making sounds like different and like growling. It's like I get it and it's something satisfying. Like love a good saw bass and stuff, and like so basically like the way waveforms work and the way music is, you know, like so you have waves of sound and they like an oscillator so that it repeats, and so like the way you change the shape of the sound gives you different effects. So like like a white noise, not a white noise machine, but like a low, like a tone would be like a woo. Yeah, so like that'd be like a nice, very smooth. But then if you put chops in that sine wave, and you can make different shapes. So like a saw looks like a
saw blade.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can imagine an oscillator going around hitting that saw, like you know, like so that's where you get more of the like you can get more of the yeah. So that's like how synthesis works.
I always pictured, like, if you asked me to think in my mind or like conjure an image of what like boop noise looks like as a sound wave, I would assume it was just a flat tube.
So that's the thing too, is like as you zoom in on it, so as you take any sound, like even our voice, the further you zoom in on it, so like a sine wave is like the most purest form, like the most like harmonizing
sine wave
sound.
Meaning like cosine,
tangent,
like math. Sine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like this, like so it looks like this, and it just will repeat forever and infinitely.
Okay.
But then as you change that shape, because like even saw waves can be built up of sine, like it's crazy. Like you zoom in, it's crazy.
Okay.
That's not what this podcast is about right now. I just got super tangent.
Can you see me just like struggling to function?
Oh, your brain is like,
this is not my area of expertise.
I can see the steam start coming out. But
I didn't know all of this existed inside of your brain.
No, I can show you. Yeah, and like
that's
serum and stuff.
Crazy.
I love synthesis. It's like my favorite part of music, like making music.
I had no idea that it was that complex.
Because then the cool thing too is like you lay two different waves on each other, then you get a totally different sound because you get different harmonies and different like.
It's like the ratatouille thing.
Sure.
Like cheese on its own with like the yellow dots, and then the strawberry on its own with the red dots, and then he eats them both at the same time.
And then it is kind of like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like very basic form of like keyboard,
I can track
like
with
synthesis.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I guess my big question of the day is my first question is, and we argue about this, and I personally, I feel very strongly about this. But for you, can you separate the artist from the art?
No.
It's to me, they're inherently the same thing.
Well, okay. And the thing is that, first of all, like to me, no, I can't, because there's like a human aspect to like the creation of art and other like creative pursuits that came out of that person's brain. It's like related to some inner emotional thing for them, even though like I guess in this day and age of like people just basically accepting a demo that's made by someone else, like sure, whatever, right? But like that's a thing, fair enough, but there is an aspect of like yourself that you're giving to this creative thing. And so like first of all, I just don't think it's possible to do that for me on an emotional level. But second of all, like to me it feels very important to honor that in our current capitalist regime. Trying to separate the art from the artist is a fundamentally fruitless exercise because regardless of whether you say you're separating them, the truth is that supporting the art does inherently support the artist in like what our society deems as the most meaningful way, which is by providing them with some kind of financial kickback.
Well, I think too, especially with the capitalization of music, which is something else I could talk about that
like
endlessly
the commodification of art.
The commodification of art is that the artist is inherently a product of the record label, and the record company, and like ergo, like they all like
so you can't do that.
And I think like obviously like pop music is great, and I do have such like music generally, like such more appreciation for it, especially from like where I was before.
Because high school you would have very much agreed with the Dave Grohl take of like electronica and like house is like not real music, I think.
Like it was a very hard, like that was like a very like internal struggle I had.
Yeah, because you liked it still at the time.
Well, I respect Dave Grohl because like an absolutely incredible musician.
Like a figurehead.
But then like there's nothing else like composing and creating and synthesizing music. Like there is humanality to it. And like I understand, like good electronic music, in my opinion, is not. Like there are human, like it is inherently a human element because you're creating. Unfortunately now with like AI and stuff, like the graying of it, of course, continues.
But generally speaking,
But yeah, so anyways, I think like a long way to say like the art is inherently from the artist. Like
to me, it just feels impossible
Marshmello,
to separate them.
But like I think like the very like bare basic like elementary. You know, but like that's not to say it's not still music, and it's not like still, but essentially like the playing Legos with music, you know.
Okay. That's a bit of a hot take on your part. Also, I guess to be clear, it's relevant in my opinion to draw the distinction here, or not a distinction rather, but just like expand. Because oftentimes people have the conversation about separating the art from the artist when the artist is problematic. Right? And so that's why I said, like, to me, no, I just don't think that you can. It is fair to say, though, that you can like someone's art without necessarily liking the artist.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, there are very much songs and, like, pieces of cinema and, like,
I think someone,
art, whatever, that I enjoy, but that doesn't mean that I'm, like, obsessed with the artist who made it. However, to me, liking that art does mean that I'm supporting that artist in some way. And so especially like I talked about this on the podcast with Hannah about Lisa Frank. That like Lisa Frank and especially like her husband who she owned the company with at the time both have committed atrocities against their employees. And so therefore it's very difficult for me to like Lisa Frank. Even though I have a nostalgia for it as like a child of the 90s, I will never buy another Lisa Frank product as long as I live. Because I just don't want to support her as a artist.
And I think the opposite then for that, so where I want to take this podcast today then is where does so blindly following an artist, when does it start become problematic? And what we're talking about today is stan culture.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay. It's so fucking interesting to me because
I feel
personally
uniquely qualified to discuss this.
I feel personally like I've never like stanned anybody in my life. Like there are artists that like I love and I respect, like Tom York and Radiohead and like Julian Casablancas and like the whole Strokes and like so, like I can get like all
super get
like
into
artists,
that,
but then like also like jazz artists and like stuff like that and all kinds of different like you get lost in the sauce all day on that shit.
100%.
But then, like, there's never been someone that, like, if they came out and, like, did something, it's like the Republican-Democrat thing. Republicans, like, Trump could fucking shit in his hand
and hand it to someone,
and fucking, they would be like, oh, yeah, we're doing that, too. And if Biden would do that, like, what, you've lost your mind, like, get the fuck out of the office.
Like, we no longer support you.
Like, it's like that same thing. Like, if someone comes out and says something racist, or...
You suck.
Like, you're fucking, like, I don't like you anymore, you know?
And,
like, it is
That's
hard.
Fair, actually.
I think so, like, at what point then do you, like, support, like, Spotify, obviously streaming people's music. So, like, will you stop streaming people's music once you find out they're problematic? Or
I do. I try to.
I do. Of course. I think it's hard. Of course, I think the person that comes up the most for me, and I've honestly, it's gonna be a hot take. I know, and you're probably thinking, but Kanye West, the artist formerly known as Kanye
West, I guess he goes by Ye now.
Like the shit he has going on is nuts. But then also, like, you can't argue, like, especially like the tens. Bangers, just
defining
like
moments. I know,
absolutely. Like how many times did we play some of those tracks?
Well, and also there was like a transformative aspect to that music in terms of like steering the direction of that particular genre
and like culture, and like absolutely, like very much like a cultural moment.
Yeah.
But like, at what point then do you go? So I will say he is one of the artists on Spotify I have blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, you will not get another fucking, not a single cent from my ass.
Same. Yeah, I have him blocked so that even on like, if I listen to like a Spotify playlist or a radio, so that it just doesn't show up on there.
Yeah, and I've said this, I have one other person and I'll never tell who it is.
Yeah.
I'll never tell.
I know you won't. And I'm glad.
I know. It's for our safety.
You won't.
But
sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. What were you thinking?
Well, so this, I said earlier, I feel uniquely qualified to talk about this because I am a very emotional being. I have always had a really strong emotional connection to music, especially. You and I both have kind of had this like fascination with music.
It's
and
incredible.
Like, well, and I think it's just like such a useful vehicle to process emotion. I don't know if it's like a neurodivergent thing or like we're maybe just very sensitive, emotional beings.
But like back to the church thing and stuff, like it's a powerful, impactful, like also that's why fundies don't allow
certain types of music.
Yes.
Because it makes you feel things.
Yeah.
So the reason I said I feel uniquely qualified to talk about this is because as a person who's like very emotionally impacted by music, I've sort of gone through phases with certain fandoms and certain artists where I'm like,
one comes to mind specifically.
Which one are you thinking of?
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I knew it. But it's so,
to be fair,
so hard.
I always liked Shannon better than I liked Jared.
You have always,
Thank you very
for the record,
much.
you have always said that.
Yes.
You have always said that.
Thank you. However, like that was very much a period of time. Like I almost got a 30 Seconds to Mars tattoo. We named our cat after the fandom for 30 seconds.
There's no we, you did.
Yeah, I did do that. Me and my roommate decided the name for that cat.
We were not living together
without
yet.
you. Yeah. The cats were very much my cats at the time, so that's fair. But yeah, I mean, like it got to the point that like we, you know, my roommate and I both really liked 30 Seconds to Mars at the time.
I love 30 Seconds to Mars.
To be clear, this was like 2013. Yeah, it was like Love, Lust, Faith and Dreams, I think was the album.
I like that album. It's pretty,
2014.
I listened back to it again. It's
like very okay.
It's mid.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But this was around the time that tour was happening.
Yes.
And I was so, like, I watched the documentary about, like, because they have did at the time, the Guinness World Record for the longest continuous tour.
Oh.
Yeah, the album before that, they were just touring and touring and touring.
But because that was the one, is it The Kill or?
I feel like I've purged all of it from my memory.
No, I know. Like, I recently forgot, I like remember they existed.
Yeah.
That's like what kind of like sparked this because we were like so fervently.
Yes. Well, and I like watched that documentary about their whole kerfuffle that they had with their music label.
Yes.
And so my roommate and I bought tickets to go to the concert, but like we bought like expensive tickets and then we paid for like the VIP like meet and greet thing. We sat in on this like Q&A thing. We got a photo with them, but I was obsessed, just like absolutely fixated on these people. And I would like listen to this. I was a barista in college. And so I'd listen to this music on my shift and just like cry making people coffee because I was so just like in the sauce deeply. But then like all of that stuff started to happen like in real time. I watched 30 Seconds to Mars roll out this weird like VIP. They started doing Camp Mars.
Yeah, they kept getting it.
And then it turned into Mars Island. And then the photos came out of Jared Leto walking around a bunch of teenage girls, like not Jesus. Women, but girls in this white gossamer gown, like, acting like Jesus. It was super weird.
Sus.
Well, and then like at the time, I remember when we went to the concert, they had this like graphic on the back. You know, like with concerts, they have all of the like B-roll and like graphics and all the video footage that plays behind them. One of the things that flashed on the screen while they were playing, I think that was their final song of the set, was the phrase, "Yes, this is a cult." And at the time, it was like a joke, right? It was like sort of a funny haha about how obsessed the fandom was.
Yes.
And then it like became real, you know? And so
people
that was
pay
like
a lot of money for the island shit.
Yes. It's wild how much money people pay for it. But I was heartbroken because I was so obsessed and emotionally involved in this music, only to find out that like this person's a fucking terrible person. And actually like there's a lot of questionable behavior there. And then like Tomo left. And so then at that point I was like, I'm done. You know, like we sort of graduated. And then their next album came out too and it was trash. And we were like, well, never mind.
I think around the same time too, there was that the Suicide Squad movie and with all the acting stuff with Jared Leto. Like,
oh my God. Yeah, him being
like
a method actor, except that he was harassing Margot Robbie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he sent her a dead rat. And I think a used condom.
Yeah, I think actually,
yeah,
but like shit like that, like
terribly abusive behavior.
We have like God complex has gone full.
Yes,
we have left the building.
Yeah,
like any semblance.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of did a similar thing with 21 Pilots also. that I was like fixated, just obsessed. This was around the same time.
You basically switched you went from one.
I was going.
If that's not the most ADHD thing.
I know, the hyperfixation thing.
I know. I was so bummed. I listened to 21 Pilots first, and then they were just popular, and I was like, fuck you guys, I'll listen to them first.
I know. Yeah,
that's not how music works.
No, it's not. That was like very much the hipster attitude though of the time.
No, I know.
Too.
And it's like if something gets popular because a lot of people like it, it's like, okay, I just like something. I like something that other people could like. I have good taste.
You should just be excited about that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, really cool. So I like very much went through that period of time, and I do remember being like heartbroken about how not good of a person Jared Leto is.
It's like it's like such a feeling of like letdown.
Yeah, you feel personally wounded when someone that you idolize is like a letdown.
So I guess going on that, it's like the whole cult thing, right?
Yeah.
When does what happens? Like, I guess, is there any research or any supporting stuff that you can tell me about, like, what happens to a person when you become so engrossed
in like a fandom,
in a parasocial relationship, in a fandom, and like where, like, when you start having the fan pages, and not that there's anything wrong with fan pages, but like to the degree, I think the thing that comes to mind too with me is a lot of the like male actors and the fandoms that people create for them. Yeah. But then like how they are when those people start getting married and dating and relationships.
The Chalamet thing comes to mind.
I'm thinking also it's giving Captain America.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Like that fandom.
Yes.
When he like there's some vile things that are posted online in regards to people's
who they choose to partner
lives.
with and date and who
so
they're seen publicly with.
What kind of happens there? Is it just the parasocial thing, or is it like because there's also an essence of pick me, I guess, too, I wonder?
Yeah. So I mean there's like an interesting intersection that happens because parasocial relationships are difficult. We talked about this in the psychology of horror movies video. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that will be up at the time that this goes up, but
who knows? It's a surprise to everybody.
It's a surprise to everyone. But one of the things that's important to remember when we analyze media is that our brains, from an evolutionary perspective, were not intended necessarily to view and conceptualize this media, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
The advent of the internet is something that obviously at the times that our brain was created and evolved wasn't intended to consume media in that way, right? Our brains are wired for survival in like an IRL sense, you know? So digital interaction is hard to study and quantify the effects of. A lot of people are apt to dismiss fandoms and like the emotional impact of parasocial relationships and like, media and whatever, because like, oh, what do you know them, blah, 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 whatever. But there is a very real phenomenon that happens with your brain in terms of like perceiving that person as if they're in front of you.
Especially when like the passing of people of like, we've talked about this. We've talked about that before.
Yeah. And they're obviously like our brain is very sophisticated. There is a contextualizing that happens with information. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but we do talk about that a lot in the psychology of horror movie, how like your hippocampus helps. Yeah, but your hippocampus helps to contextualize information, right? So there, like, it's not to say that your brain is perceiving celebrities as if they're your real friends. No. Of course, your brain knows that they're not, but it is a very compelling relationship.
It's like it blurs, like the line.
Yes, it does sort of fuck with the way that your brain feels about relationships, or not like. It sort of fucks with your brain in the sense that like you can very much feel as though you're in a relationship with someone, even though you don't actually know them and they have no idea that you exist.
And I know people might get upset at this, and I hate to draw parallels between this, but it gives me like the difference between like the MAGA cult.
Oh.
And like the blind, like the cult of personality thing.
Yes.
Where, and I wouldn't want, like, it wouldn't seem fair to like dismiss those, like to talk about that, like we would talk negatively, but like the parallels there are very similar, and like you take everything at face value, and I guess my hope is just like a little bit more awareness of like, because I think for us too, we're so jaded, and especially the experiences we've had, like never meet your fucking heroes, like if I start liking someone, I'm like, I don't want to know anything about them, I'm not going to follow them on social media. I learned about some artists that I guess I was like fine, like in the middle about, but with like grooming allegations. And,
oh God, I know. Yes.
Yeah, and like
it's always that.
Yeah. And like
there's always like grooming, sexual assault, or racism, or like somewhere in the closet. Somewhere in this one of the skeletons in those closets. Yeah.
Someone else that we both enjoyed a lot. We never did see them live or anything, or like got too crazy into it. But Panic at the Disco.
Oh, actually, I have seen Panic at the Disco live.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot you saw them in college.
Yeah. It was like a weird pop-up concert.
Yeah, back before they hadn't like blown up yet.
No. Well, I think they were like still pretty popular, but it wasn't like quite
They were like radio play, like they were.
No.
Yeah.
It was like a weird, like our college paid for Panic at the Disco to show up to this very specific small event. I think the concert had probably 200 people
fucking nuts.
In the audience. Yeah. And I didn't really know any of their songs, but I just went because I was like, it's free.
Yeah.
So I have seen them live. But like, yeah, we were very much like in the sauce. We really, really liked their music there for a while.
Do you want to hear about some of the fucked up shit Brendon Urie's done?
So I'm like vaguely aware that he's a shitty person because I stopped streaming their music because I was like, oh, I think he's a bad person, but I don't know what the particulars are.
So I can't say. So a lot of it's been scrubbed from Twitter. But I have.
So this is a legend.
But this is a quote.
Sure.
Slight trigger warning. But apparently during one of his shows, he said, allegedly, if I see you after the show, I'm going to fuck you.
Whoa.
I don't care if you want it. I more care if you don't want it.
Whoa. Ew. Oh
like,
my God.
Wait, my brain is blown.
So he said that like.
During a set.
Like while he's on stage.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, why would you so publicly? Also, like, ew, no, gross. Also, like, I don't know how to comprehend that.
Especially because the 2000s was like the era of like boy band grooming allegations and like all of the fucked up shit that happened with like the pop punk thing.
I feel like every single one of those bands
so
just
shitty.
So fucking like wasn't like All Time Low was one of those like
I remember being a teenager at an All Time Low show and like bringing a bra to throw up on stage.
Crazy.
Ew, just gross.
It is kind of gross. Like no judgment at you, of course.
No, I was a child.
But just
but like, why were you okay with that as an artist?
This.
That's weird.
Also, the thing we talk about too of like these adults making music for children, like teenagers.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not that it's weird, but I'm like also like it's such an interesting.
Well, I think it's more so when people like acknowledge and encourage that following. Like Hannah and I have talked about this with Colleen Ballinger, right? They're like, you can't necessarily control who your fandom is, right? But like making content to specifically suit that demographic and like choosing to interact with them in a way that breeds like a further buy-in from children is super fucking weird because you shouldn't like that. You know, unless you're like Miss Rachel, who's literally making content to like educate small children. Yeah. Like that's weird. You shouldn't want to be friends with like small children or like teenagers like when you're like, a 30-year-old.
I feel like that was like a mutually understood.
I thought so too. But apparently, not so whatever. Much. That's fucked up. I didn't know it was like so overt.
Apparently during another one of his shows, allegedly, he said to, I wish I was born black so I could wear the clothes I wear without getting made fun of.
Come again?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like,
what is wrong with him?
I don't know.
Okay, so actually this does kind of track, I won't lie.
Okay.
These are alleged, by the way. This is like all of this is allegations, but especially with the way that he's conducted himself recently. I've showed you some of these videos on TikTok of Brendon Urie like blowing out his vocal cords.
Yeah.
And it really does give this, it conveys this energy of a person who is obsessed with being the center of attention, who is obsessed with being worshipped by people, so much so that he's like willing to do potentially permanent damage to his vocal cords just to like get attention of like, look at how high I can sing or how long I can hold this note, and just like really weird kind of like stunt type of stuff.
Him not getting that spot for the Queen.
Really, I think that really got under his skin.
Popped his. Yeah. And then, of course, the cherry on top is, and these are all alleged, and these have been scrubbed from Twitter, apparently.
Sure.
But there's reporting of him, of course, inappropriately trying to touch minors
Whoa.
and fans.
Oh, my God.
Just like every time.
Why? It's always that. Why is it always that?
It is. Like, I don't, like,
ooh, that's really
I'm always like, is there a correlation there? Or, like, what is, like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, so I feel like this is an interesting intersection also, because stan culture seems to be particularly common among teenagers and like younger people. So like to me, it's not a coincidence from a developmental point of view that these people who are very vulnerable, who are in a period of time that developmentally speaking, we are desperate to find community and to feel accepted. And so when artists like this seem to present themselves in a way that like
resonate.
We're a safe community, you belong here, and then it turns out that they're exploitative and terrible people, it really does come across as like grooming sort
shitty.
Of behaviors.
Yeah, it kind of is, honestly. Yeah, it's like all kind of like adjacent.
Yeah, it's I guess it's like, to me, I guess not a coincidence that communities that seem to have a really strong stan energy also seem to have people at the front of that who are particularly adept at manipulating the emotions of vulnerable people.
I guess that's a good point too, is like just,
it's more common to have stans from people who are like emotionally manipulated and like not because it's their fault, but just because they're vulnerable to that. You know what I'm saying?
It's just such a scary, like, it
is scary.
Yeah. It's kind of like, and it feels like predatory.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, it's inherently predatory, I think. I don't know that people start out that way, to be clear. I'm not alleging that people are like calculatedly doing this.
No, I don't think so either. But I think like it just, especially like you were talking about earlier,
snowballs
like when
that way.
It gets encouraged.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which is weird.
Another fandom I'd like to talk about, speaking of standing, are the kittens. Doja Cat's fandom.
Oh,
are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So,
oh God.
So it kind of all started a little while back. Doja Cat was going off on her. Also, she just like goes into chat rooms randomly, I guess.
Oh.
Is my impression.
Like chat rooms where like
I don't know, like old school like chat roulette or like her like like discords and shit, or like
that's weird.
I don't know, confused, doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand.
A little too parasocial
I don't understand
for my taste.
the particulars of this.
Okay.
But anyways, so there's an article that comes out and essentially she called her fans dumb and insinuated Hot Pink and Planet Her were just like very generic bullshit money grabs.
Yeah, she called them cash grabs, didn't she? She basically said that like she didn't really even like any of that music and she literally just made it to make money.
Yeah, like you guys are dumb for listening to this.
Yeah, almost like I sort of got one over on you guys and like literally just farmed money from you and like you guys are dumb for even liking this.
Yes.
Which is such a wild take.
Also, too, like all the people, like, thank you for making me rich
and famous.
Popular, and famous.
Also,
I'm gonna shit on you now.
You're embarrassing for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I've seen a lot of speculation about whether she's trying to tank her reputation because she doesn't want to be famous anymore, and so maybe she's trying to annihilate that.
Pop album.
Yeah, there's also a lot of
was this just drumming up, you know? Yeah. But then, so anyways, so her fans of her, I think this was on Twitter. They were like, "Oh, can you like sign off on us being called kittens?"
Sure.
And she was just like, "No, that's fucking weird. I don't give you permission for that."
God.
And just essentially like berated her fans for being like mentally unwell, for wanting to be called kittens.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up.
Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if my audience wanted to be called kittens, I would feel a little bit off-put by that.
But you wouldn't like berate them for wanting.
No. I'd be like, maybe that's not my favorite, but like, why as a public figure would you shit on the people who are supporting you?
Literally makes no sense.
That's super weird.
So there's like this whole thing where like the the fandom pages I was talking about earlier. Yeah. Like there were like pages ran by fans who were like, I just can't support Doja Cat anymore.
Oh, no.
And
oh,
like,
shit.
So like breaking.
Wow, it like actually worked.
Yeah, like breaking away from like the like stan mentality.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing I was trying to touch on earlier too, is like what, like, does there always have to be such a severe break? Or do you think it happens sometimes like over time, or like how many, because sometimes it feels like someone can get away with stuff and get away with stuff and get away with stuff.
Yes.
And then sometimes it's like it just takes one big thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just interesting to me.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a combination of both, because I mean with the Doja Cat thing, it does seem very much like there is a concrete event that has caused a lot of people to like not follow her anymore. But then, like with the 30 Seconds to Mars thing, our experience was not unique in the sense that a lot of fans, first of all, were getting older and sort of aging out of this very emo.
It does feel like aging out a little bit, yeah.
And also just like over time, the escalation of behavior led to a lot of people being like, no, like I don't support that anymore.
Do you age out of music, you think?
Yes, I think so. At least I think it's possible to, because I know for sure that I have. And it does seem like a very millennial phenomenon of like aging out of like pop punk and like the emo music. Yeah. Not that I don't enjoy that music still, obviously.
Of course.
There's a nostalgia factor there for sure. And like
I always
there is some
too.
of it that stands the test of time.
Absolutely.
But like, I don't know. It does seem like at a certain point, it's just like not relevant to your life anymore. Because like
that makes sense.
A lot of the reason that I liked the very emo music that I liked in high school and college was because I was mentally ill and not being treated for that. So like as I've become more aware of my stuff, as I've like healed some of my trauma and like all of that stuff, I have less of a need for that type of emotional catharsis because I'm not feeling quite so overwhelmed by those particular types of emotions.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm wondering as time moves on, and like I think we talk about this even too, like the culture, and like I don't mean to say like sound like a fucking boomer, but like the kids nowadays, I feel like have access to more resources
like
and stuff
diverse,
that maybe we did growing up, and like so I'm not saying that people aren't still emotional and emo and like going through all of that, and like still of course like working yourself like as a teenager and like adolescence is like a tumultuous
Very
time
difficult.
emotionally. I'm wondering if that like goes away less, or if there's like less of that now.
Interesting.
But like if there's just like groups we don't even know about too.
Probably
you know?
that. Yeah. Well, I think the other thing that's kind of a differentiating factor is that streaming platforms were not common.
We did talk about this,
You know, and so like Spotify being a thing, we were like getting used to using Spotify when I was like a junior in college.
I still have my same account from high school.
Same.
Like,
and so like that wasn't really a thing. Like I downloaded music on LimeWire. Like we were pirating music on LimeWire to put on burnt CDs to play in the car or on our CD player on the way to school.
Oh, you know? I remember I made so many burnt CDs. I'm pretty sure I made you one.
Yes,
I definitely fucking did.
You did. I think I still have it.
What do we do with all those? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in our memory box somewhere.
Oh, that'd be so sweet. We should crack that bitch open and see what's on it.
We have to find something that can play a fucking CD though. Not even our computers have disc readers anymore.
Do either of I think your car has a...
Does it?
I think so.
Okay, maybe we'll put it in the car.
Oh my God. I wonder what's on it.
I don't know. Probably something funny. Actually, I bet it's really sweet. Actually,
it probably is really sweet. We definitely have to.
We were very emo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that wasn't really as common of a thing. So finding like super niche music and media was just less common then. We were all sort of funneled to like radio. We talked about this before,
yes.
like Kesha and, you know, like even like Kanye West, you know, like there was different genres of music for sure. There was like pop and rap and like, you know, things were differentiated a little, but like for the most part, we were all kind of funneled into listening to the same things.
Honestly, that's kind of fair too. Yeah,
you know?
I feel like there wasn't this like. I feel like nowadays too. Like I never know what someone's gonna put on a speaker. Or
No,
like
well, and it's really common to discover an indie artist that you're like, oh, I've never heard of this person. They have like 2,000 monthly listeners.
Literally.
You know, but like even if you didn't like My Chemical Romance. Most people were aware that they existed.
Your Green Day and your like your Foo Fighters and shit like that. Like you're or like Lady Gaga.
Oh yes.
And like Britney and all that. Like Madonna.
Yeah. People had like, you know, an awareness for those things. So it's like a different. I think there's just like a greater differentiation for genres and cultures and like emotional experiences.
I think it makes sense too with TikTok now too. Yeah. Because I feel like things that are popular are inherently like anymore. Like the top 100 is like TikTok.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
it definitely is.
You know
like the Billboard charts is basically what's starting on TikTok.
Is like just radio.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair actually, because I guess there is still an aspect of that, huh? Because like even if you don't like, I don't know, Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah. Everybody knows who she is, though. Most people do, anyways. You know, like Gen Z kids especially are like aware of their existence, you know?
I think it's so funny, too, especially for like a culture that's probably not playing on, like listening to the radio. Like essentially you're still just getting your music. So I don't know now. I wonder, like, does it get funneled more now or
same.
less?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, is it actually that different? We just
talked ourselves into a circle.
But that's like so fun about it. Like, is TikTok any different than funneling people? Like, the most popular songs are what people are going to make.
I guess it's kind of not, huh?
Make videos to. Yeah. And then those are what are going to get traction.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
The internet is such an interesting phenomenon too. Because I'm thinking about when we were in high school. Obviously, we didn't have TikTok, but we did have YouTube. And early YouTube was such a funny time because there was a lot of niche culture stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the way that animals eat, or like the shoes,
or the song. Or the Charlie the Unicorn.
Yes, and then that pug, like Luca the pug. I think that song, that like Irish song that was like really popular at the time. That was
the Numa Numa Kid.
Yes,
and all that. Oh my God, the Chocolate Rain. Oh my God.
That was all kind of subculture stuff too, you know, that like people were sort of differentiated in the sense of like whether you thought Charlie the Unicorn was funny or you even knew what that was.
Oh my God.
You know?
I remember there's this video with like these badgers. He goes, betcha, betcha,
yes,
betcha, betcha. Yeah. And then the mushrooms. Oh my God. That shit is hardwired, like laser etched in my brain. Yes.
Yeah. And so maybe it's not really that different, you know, because we did kind of have
30 years from now, I wonder if TikTok will make it 30 years. 10 years?
know.
A year?
If it doesn't get banned by then, probably.
But like also we were talking about that the other day though. Since I didn't realize they moved the servers to America.
Oh, the
And
For You page is
algorithm-
not the same.
The algorithm is not the same. And I
not
know
as
it's like
good.
that thing where it's like, I don't want them farming my data. But then I'm like, if you're already doing it, and I know you're doing it, because like, don't act like they're not still doing it.
Yeah, no, they definitely are.
Then like, can you just make my experience really good then? Like, if you're going to take this away from me, then like.
They were violating our privacy, but it did result in a really great user experience, though.
I know. So I'm like, damn, am I just simping for
I know.
having my privacy gone? But also, yeah.
But also, too, like, we're so jaded because at this point, I'm like the joke about like us having an FBI agent and like all of that, like it's very much part of the cultural zeitgeist. You know, like we're just all kind of aware and like we don't care. You know, I know that you're violating my privacy. I just want to watch my little videos.
Can you just make sure
delighted.
my videos are relevant and appropriate?
Yeah, we are sort of jaded about how common it is to have our data violated.
So I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I feel like you have to regularly turn the app off anymore now.
Yes, to reset the For You page.
What is that about?
It's very annoying. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I'm irritated by it.
Oh my God. Yeah, as soon as you start getting like 2 or 3 straight videos in a row, then we're like, whoa, we're not wrong. This is not our For You page.
No, this is for someone else.
I'm like, why is this woman complaining about her boyfriend? I also always have this thought.
Yeah.
And because growing up, God, I'm gonna say it. Taylor Swift, I didn't feel like was that popular when we were growing up. Like she was getting there. She wasn't like now she is now. But
okay, fair. Maybe there was like slightly less of a
fandom, yeah.
fervency.
I feel like the 2009 VMAs where Kanye interrupted her during her and was like, yeah, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce.
Oh, the worst.
I feel like that might have helped catapult Taylor Swift into what she is today.
You think?
I feel like it's like that thing. Remember how people joke about like the Correspondents' Dinner in 2012 or 14 or whatever with Obama, and he made a joke about Trump.
Oh.
And he said, "No way am I gonna have that," and that catapulted
his
this
wounded
sequence of
ego.
events. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, interesting.
Speaking of Kanye,
yes.
trash, so bad, right?
What?
I have a small list.
As a person?
Oh, like so many problematic things.
Yeah. I have another thing that I want to tell you.
Tell me.
No. You go first.
No, I won't forget. I have notes.
Okay, that's fair. I was on Reddit the other day, as one does, just scrolling, and there was a video that came up. I guess Kanye made a documentary or tried to make a documentary about himself that ended up not airing on Netflix. And so somebody posted a clip from that documentary that didn't end up seeing the light of day, except for, people like posting it on social media and whatever. And it's a phone call that he has with Kim.
Oh, I saw that, but I didn't watch it. I thought it was from the show, from the Kardashians.
No.
Oh my God.
It's this phone
Did you watch
call.
it?
Yeah. It's this phone call that he has with Kim where she
Is it worth listening to, you think? Do you think you could find it?
Actually, yeah. Let me pull it up. We can probably listen to it.
Edit real quick.
Give me a hot
magic.
sec.
All right, patch me in.
Okay. It feels so weird to not be able to hear it.
Hello.
Hey, babe, what you doing?
Hello.
I said, hey, babe, what you doing?
Nothing, just getting ready.
Okay. Now, I was thinking about one thing. It's like when I say these things to like pump myself up, you as my wife, when I'm pumping myself up, I would just love it if you're like, yes, babe, you the shit. Instead of when I like have to like stand up for myself, you'd be like, why do you sound like that? You're narcissistic. And it's just like, that'd be that type of shit where it's like a Floyd Mayweather could never have that. You know what I mean? Like, and be the champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like Ye needs like fucking pumping up. You know what I mean? Not like putting down.
No, I totally get it. I used to work on it.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate it. I think you're doing better at it. So.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, and I didn't mean to be rude to that guy. I was just like being funny to myself. It was funny to me.
I know, but I think it could be helpful. Like how that new medication, like that other medication. What if one day, like, you thought all your options were what you barely said? I know you don't. I know you're never going to be on it, but I'm just saying, what if it started happening? Or there's a rack in the. You know what I mean? It's just good to have information.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like when you be doing your deals.
This guy is the best medicine doctor.
When you do your deals, you scream at me like, I don't want that information. I'm like, no, you need information. You should know these things. But then with the medical,
it's not that I don't want information. I don't want to deal with.
Yeah, but information is good.
Connection and like, okay, you tell me, but I'm loving the idea of a licensing deal. Like, I don't want the responsibility.
No, I like licensing deals sometimes too. Like Adidas is a licensing deal. I'd be fine to do all licensing deals and shit. You know, it's just, but always just have the info. Like, have the info of what's in the food for the kids, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Okay, it's getting hard to hold the phone up to my ear because my nails are coming off, so I'll call you in a little bit.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, but marriage is, you know, I think it's fun. It's like a game. Life is a game, and it's all about.
There's a couple relevant things from that. I obviously couldn't hear it while you were listening to it. So I don't like super duper remember all of the details of it.
No, that's fine. Give me fill me in because I'm kind of confused by it all.
So basically what happens is that Kanye has his friend like film him while he's making a phone call to Kim. And he starts the phone call by trying to berate her for not being supportive enough.
Yeah, hyping up. He wants...
Which, first of all, some of the people pointed out in the comments what an odd comment it is that he would say something about Floyd Mayweather, who has a history of allegedly being physically abusive to his past partners. And so Kanye wanting to seemingly emulate that dynamic is really questionable to start with. But also a lot of people pointed out how he started this phone call by trying to essentially berate her for not being supportive enough. And in this like very tired seeming way, Kim essentially is like, I know, and I'm working on it. It really comes across as the thing that a lot of people who are being abused do, where you just placate this person when they're trying to pick a fight with you.
That's what it really felt like. And then he's like, yeah, you're doing good at it though.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost like this bid to start a fight. And by placating this person, you kind of circumvent that, and they like don't really know what to do with it, right? But then I guess there was an incident. I don't really know what the incident was, but I guess there was an incident where Kanye was like being shitty to some man.
Yeah, I don't know what that's referring to.
Yeah, we don't have context for that. But Kim essentially tries to float the idea of like, maybe it's not a bad idea to just gather more information about taking medication. Yeah. And she says, I know that you won't, or like that you don't need it, or whatever she says. But like maybe having information is good. And Kanye takes that statement and left field into like, I'm always telling you that you need more information about things. That's why I'm always telling you.
He's talking about licensing deals.
Yes.
That's what, and then like what the foods the kids are eating.
Yes. Yeah. So he takes
that's why I was so confused.
She takes this moment to try to like, please take care of yourself, right? Like taking meds for mental illness is not a bad thing. And he takes this into an opportunity to criticize her. He just like completely left fields this conversation to make it about how she's not doing something the way he wants her to.
I am just so...
It's really, really, really sad. It's this really sad glimpse into like what is potentially the way their conversations sounded all the time, which is just like he has no awareness for how his behavior is affecting other people, and especially the like life is a game, like marriage is a game.
Yeah, after he says that, right after he gets off the phone.
Yeah, like, it's really concerning because if that's really the way that he views relationships with people, like that's not cool or good, man.
Well, no wonder. Have you heard all the allegations about his school he has?
He has a school?
Yeah, he has like a little...
What?
It's like called Donda Academy, I think, or something. Yeah.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, he has like a academy or like a...
For who? Adults?
For kids.
For children.
For children.
Like school-age children.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the curriculum?
Well, that I don't... I guess... I don't know.
But like...
And they pay... It's
like,
expensive. It's expensive to go.
Is he just like a benefactor for a school that already exists? Or like he made an academy?
Made an academy.
For what purpose?
I don't know. Like regular ass school, I guess. But
that's super weird.
But they...
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrogate you. I just am confused about why.
I don't know what the curriculum is, but I know like they had some teachers recently.
Well, I guess my question when I say what's the curriculum, I mean like, is it intended to be a replacement for these kids going to public school?
Yeah, no, I think it is. This is like because you have to pay to go there. It's like a charter school. Yeah.
What? So it's not like an academy where like celebrities will sometimes do this where they open like an academy of music to like teach kids like extracurricular skills or whatever.
I think this is like a primary...
is like meant to be a replacement for regular ass school.
That's my impression of it. If it isn't, that's not what I gathered from the articles I was reading.
That's so problematic.
But apparently there's allegations that because some teachers were removed from the school because they were complaining and they were alleging that there was like health and safety
Oh,
and like
no.
work violations galore.
Oh God, like
just-
OSHA kind of
yeah, like I
stuff.
think like safety for the students level violations.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
And apparently one of the other things too that's like mentioned in the article is like they just endlessly feed them sushi for lunch.
What?
I don't, like they're just eating sushi every day for lunch.
That's so weird. Does he have like a fixation with like diet and health and because
like,
he said the thing about what they're feeding the kids and stuff, is that like a fixation of his? I wonder.
I don't know, maybe.
Ugh.
It certainly could be, but just like random shit like that. Like I just never would have even.
Super weird.
In like what world?
Also, imagine making such a volatile protein the core of your like cafeteria lunch for
no wonder
small
there's probably
children.
Health violations.
That's like such a nightmare in terms of food safety. Why would you do that?
And I think it's just like stuff with that though. Like no matter how good his music may have been or like could be in the future, like like it's off the table for me now.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I've had to like there's a lot of stuff I feel like I used to listen to. And like I just can't listen to this the same anymore.
It's not because it's not the same.
I feel like it's not the same.
At least for me, it changes my emotional reaction.
Like attachment to the
Yeah. It just is like not. It's really difficult to enjoy it as just a standalone media that doesn't have any impact, you know?
Yeah.
Because the other thing that I think of with stuff like that too, like if I do hear a Kanye West song on the radio or whatever, it just like comes up.
Yeah.
Obviously there's like the initial hit of nostalgia and like thinking about that time in our lives. But then I also think through like moments like that.
Okay.
That like he had this phone call with Kim Kardashian that like nobody really knew about, that like in, you know, viewing it now is like really, really sad. Like that conversation was from 2018.
Oh, damn, that's old.
Yeah. And so I think about like what was going on in his life at the time and like the way that he was treating people potentially and like what personal decisions were you making that impacted your creativity for this, and like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, like very much like
you recorded this song and like it was really successful and whatever, but like maybe you were being really shitty to people behind the scenes, and like with Brendon Urie, right? Like you performed this song live and then assaulted someone after you did it.
No, literally.
I can't listen to it the same anymore.
It's ruined.
It's ruined now.
But also Ye being like all the anti-Semitic comments and stuff and like doubling down on them.
Yes.
Forcing people to wear White Lives Matter shirts at like one of the like the Fashion Week in Paris or something.
No, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, like shit like that. And it's like I just
because even if it is a publicity stunt, like I really don't vibe with anybody who thinks that you can make statements like that as a publicity stunt and that's an okay thing to do.
It feels like the pranking thing. Like this is not a prank. Like that's not like you're actually like hurting people with this.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
Even if it is only for publicity's sake, like this is still fucked up. You
but
don't
then
get
also
to
it's
do
like
that.
you like felt comfortable enough with this to use this as a publicity stunt. Like
which is not a good
so
take.
many more questions now to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's just no, I guess what I'm saying is that there's no way around this situation or like any of the actions of his to excuse him having done that.
Yeah.
You know? I think the other thing that's hard about this too is that a lot of people talk about his mental illness being a factor in his erratic behavior, right?
Yeah.
And like we've talked about this at length on the channel, that like people are allowed to be struggling with mental illness, right? That's obviously a morally neutral thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you get to insist that you are not liable for the consequences of your behavior, even if it's a result of mental illness, right? Like the common example that I give people is that while you are allowed to not be shamed, or like you shouldn't shame yourself, or other people shouldn't shame you for being depressed, the reality is that if your depression causes you to like ghost your friend when you agreed to meet them for lunch, like that is very much a like result of your mental illness, and it's okay for you to deserve compassion around that.
Absolutely.
And also you do still owe your friend an apology,
Oh
right?
yeah, like you don't get to use it as an excuse. Like
yes, you don't get to say I am depressed and so therefore the impact of my actions is null and void and no one is allowed to feel how they feel because of that. Like it's very much a yes and that like yes, you are deserving of compassion and love and respect while you're healing, and also your actions do still very much have consequences. Yeah. You know? Like it
well, it's still shitty to the other person. Like there's still someone else on the other side of it. Yeah, like it affects.
Yeah. That doesn't mean someone gets to go on a rampage hurting people and be like, but I'm mentally ill, so you can't hold me accountable. That's not fair.
It's the thing where we talk about too, like things don't happen in a vacuum.
Yes. Also too, I think it does a disservice to like other mentally ill people who are struggling with similar issues to Kanye and making a really conscious effort to be better versions of themselves, to show up kindly and respectfully in their relationships. Because like those people don't deserve to be lumped into this category of someone who is like allowing their mental illness or like choosing to use their mental illness as a shield for their shitty behavior.
Which is why I think too it's so important, like the narcissist thing and the cluster B personality thing. Like it's not fair to the people who are trying and working.
Yeah, and who are being successful at like unlearning those problematic patterns.
You don't get to be like, you don't deserve to be lumped in.
You're not a spokesperson for these other very normal, real ass people who are doing the work.
It's like, you know? No, I agree with that.
That stuff pushes my buttons too.
That's just shitty to the people who are like actually doing the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just fucked up because it also too like perpetuates the stigma that like, of course, all mentally ill people or people with, bipolar disorder or whatever, of course, they're all unsafe, they're dangerous, they're disrespectful. And like, that's not true.
It's very like stereotypy.
Like, that's a Kanye thing. That's not a mentally ill thing.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just frustrating and it makes me mad because like there's nuance there for sure, but like especially him like using it as a shield or like stands of his using it as a shield to say that he is above reproach always is just so fucking not fair.
Because like if they came out and like agree completely.
Yeah, it just sucks. It just sucks and it is sad also. Yeah. Wow, I did not expect for that to be such
a roller coaster
conversation, Pumpkin. Thanks for putting it out.
Thanks for having it with me.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts or opinions, or let me know who else is problematic. I would love to know.
I'm sure there's so many people.
Who else we need to steer clear of? If you got any of the hot goss or good tea, fill me up.
Alternatively, if you have any good small artists or indie artists that you're like really enjoying, please put those in the comments so that we can uplift new people.
I used to do that my little Spotify playlist where I used to share all those
I used to love
small
that.
Artists.
Yeah, it was a really fun time.
What a fun little
Do you have any music hyperfixations that you're having right now that you're really excited about?
I am looking forward to being wrong. I will say newer stuff, not so much, but like listening to like old Two Door Cinema Club and like is My Chemical Romance problematic? Do I need to?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know anything off the top of my head, but just,
I hope not.
I've been going through like a very like post-punk, emo phase, and it's been wonderful. Also,
that's really fun.
Just higher BPM music has been awesome.
So fun.
Also, obviously for running, we talked about the last one.
Yeah.
But just stuff that makes
running
you want to just
like
punch
100%.
the fucking air and smash your and just
Yeah, I think my music hyperfixation has been Janelle Monáe and Mr. Wives' new album.
We had to practice before our concerts.
We have tickets for both of those live events, and so I always go through and listen to the albums before. And both of them are like very not like feel good necessarily, because the new Mr. Wives album has a tinge of like angst in it.
Oh, very angsty.
But it's still like upbeat. It's like energizing.
Yes.
It's not feel good so much as it is energizing.
Yeah.
Janelle Monáe's is definitely like feel good and energizing.
No, that shit is the fucking tits.
So that's what I've been up to lately.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Let us know what you guys have been listening to.
Thanks, everybody. As always, if you want to support the pod, you can like the video, you can leave us reviews, you can subscribe on whatever platform you're listening, all that stuff. But otherwise, we'll see you guys next week for the next episode.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep. Bye.